A direct threat.
But will she succeed in bringing Donaldo to justice, or will his double life remain a secret? That's more reason why you don't want to miss the thrilling drama Super Story, Donaldo.
I was about to do that before I was interrupted.
Every Monday and Wednesday at 14:30 hours on Diamond TV.
Could be very lucky that I made sure that I have not shined my shoes so much, because I think I'm really hardworking. I think so. I don't know whether your shoes are shiny. Are you wearing smart shoes, or you're wearing other forms of shoes?
I mean, I'm a business person. And,
you're a farmer?
Well, not exactly farming, yeah. But because, I mean, the words of the Republican president, I mean, he didn't specify farming. He said business. If you see somebody with shiny shoes, then just know that they do very little business. So it wasn't specific. It wasn't tied down to farming.
Do you think that's true, though?
I mean, you know, when it comes, it's interesting you say that, because over the weekend, this is something we're talking about. We're reviewing the week, and last week, President Hakainde Hichilema had commissioned the S3 expansion project, right? Yeah. And I happen to be privileged to be invited by First Quantum Minerals to their mining site and tour the place. And I shared this on my social media that I was in Solwezi for this particular tour. And some of the comments that I got on my Facebook page was, this is where the real money is. And someone shared a picture of those safety boots, the mining safety boots. Yeah. He says this is how people who actually make the money dress. Yes. While you people in Osaka wear your,
that's true.
Your pointed shoes, but those with the money wear some jeans and some boots.
Some boots. That was an experience. I was also invited by First Quantum last year to tour the same site, and majority of the people that live around that area, that's how they dress. And one guy from Lusaka told me that if you see people dressed like this, then these are the people with the money. Well, and that's true, because there's so much money in mining minerals in this country. It doesn't matter what kind of minerals. There's just so much money, in our minerals. We don't see things like that here in Lusaka, because there's a different way that we look at money, and there's a different way that people from other provinces look at money. And so I agree totally with you that yes, when you go to another town, that is a definition of how money looks like. But when you come to Lusaka, I don't think it fits well with what the president said. I don't think if your shoes are not that shiny, even a girl would identify that you have money. I don't think so.
What a random way to kickstart tonight's edition of Diamond Live. Welcome to the show. My name is Chimweka, Chileshe.
My name is Andrew Mwansa. Coming up on the program tonight, we continue the conversation around the decision by government that to export 500 metric tons, of maize, and this comes from the backdrop of the fact that government does announce that the 2024-2025 farming season was very good for us, because we did have a bumper harvest. The country now boasts of having a total of 4 million, metric tons, and the argument also, or the submissions from government, that we have surplus, and so we need to export the surplus maize that we have as a country. We're going to be joined in by former Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Greyford Monde, to just get his perspective over this decision that government made.
Yes, and I mean, interesting. What will also be interesting enough to, I guess, also touch on. I think it's been one of the stories from today, where we did see the Patriotic Front having a press briefing. The Secretary General of the party getting to address a number of issues. One of them is putting presidential ambitions on hold. And interesting enough, we have Mr. Greyford Monde, who he's been quite clear in terms of his interests, his ambitions to lead the party as a presidential hopeful. On national level as well. He's one of the candidates, or one of the members of the party that had made that payment of the 200,000 kwacha to contest the party intra-party elections. And subsequently to be the presidential candidate for 2026. So it'll be interesting also to get his thoughts around that and this particular issue. What's happening within the party as well?
Let's start the show today in a snap. Well, Patriotic Front Secretary General and Tonse Alliance Secretary General Honorable Raphael Nakachinda did hold a press briefing at the Patriotic Front Secretariat. He held it together with some council leaders of the Tonse Alliance, but also it was inclusive of the Patriotic Front leader of the opposition, quote-unquote leader of the opposition, Honorable Mwansa. One of the issues that were discussed, Honorable Mwansa did analyze the 4 years of the UPND in office, and according to his analysis, the UPND hasn't done much. He is of the argument that, if anything, things have gone from bad to worse, because at the time that the UPND were coming into office, the prices of commodities were way lesser than they are today. He mentions fuel. He mentions the, the price of 25 kg bag of meal and other issues that he mentions. And he says the 4 years of the UPND really haven't yielded the fruits that they had preached prior to the 2021 general elections.
Quite a lot that came from there, but let's just watch this, a summary of what came out from this briefing.
Sympathizers, supporters, and those who are associating with us, either through the alliances we have joined or those who are interacting with the party, we beg of you that let's allow this process of mourning to be undertaken without indecent posturing of those who are offering themselves for presidency. And in posturing in this case is not only by those individuals, but also those who support them. There are some who have even been so overzealous in wanting to project their preferred personalities for presidents without being sensitive to not only the period we're in of mourning, but also to respect that there are procedures within the party. Therefore, as Secretary General, I direct that all manner of endorsement from anybody within the party will attract discipline and action. If you have a preferred candidate, discuss that preferred candidate in your home.
There was 9 candidates that applied already. The question is, will those who didn't apply be allowed? As the SG said, the spirit now is to allow everybody, to let the people, the owners of the party, of the PF, speak. Who knows, maybe out of the 9, there's somebody who didn't apply, who the majority people of the PF may want. So I believe our considered position is, even those that did not apply, they can start applying to the SG. They are welcome. We want as many participants so that the officials, all the ranks of...
So that's the Patriotic Front. Well, I know they hate this term faction, especially the Secretary General himself, Mr. Raphael Nakachinda, really despises that particular word. But I mean, it is what it is when you look at what's happening on the ground. And it's a faction of the Patriotic Front there having the briefing. But interesting, I was asking you where this briefing was taking place from, and you just reminded me that it was at the Secretariat, the Patriotic Front Secretariat. So, I mean, clearly they still have access to it, perhaps especially with the reunion between Mr. Mwansa, who had also been a part of a different faction from the rest of the other members is with them, Serafa Nakachinda and others. I guess them reuniting and being able to even have a press briefing together, I think speaks more into that. But even just getting to the issue of the ambitions, Andrew. This is something that obviously I think a lot of us saw coming. When you have somebody who was leading a party here who passes on, people will be looking at who's going to be next, and you definitely have people begin to position themselves to take up leadership of the party, and this has already started to happen, not only within the Patriotic Front, but generally within the alliance, because you also have the alliance partners who are trying to see who will be the best person to lead this party. We've seen others who have expressed their lack of confidence in Mr. Given Lubinda leading the alliance and arguing that he's not the person who should be leading the alliance. So there's been a lot of talk around that as well. Others who agree and do support the leadership of Mr. Given Lubinda, especially that the Patriotic Front was identified as the anchor party of the alliance, even though they do have a different special purpose vehicle, which is the New Congress Party, but it was agreed that the Patriotic Front would be the anchor political party. So there's been all these arguments, and I guess nothing strange, nothing new when we talk about our politics, but it may be of concern to some members of the public because we're looking at democracy at the end of the day. We have less than a year before Zambians get to vote. 13th of August 2026, Zambians will be voting, and there's been a lot of concern on the state of the opposition, especially the biggest opposition political party by parliamentary representation, which is the Patriotic Front.
Well, that's true. After the press briefing by the Secretary General and the Leader of Opposition earlier on today, I saw a number of people from the Patriotic Front commending the Secretary General because in his press briefing he seemed to give a sense of direction in terms of where the party is going. He mentioned that he'll be moving province by province to hold these intra-party elections at different levels of the party, and he's extended some of the structures from 24 to 72. This is to ensure that they expand their chances of winning the 2026 elections, but also it touches on something very important, that he dispelled the rumors that the convention will be held after April next year. He said they're putting things in place. In fact, by September they're going to have a central committee meeting that will give a roadmap on how when the elections are going to be. But he also mentions that the reason for why they've moved at a slow pace is because they're sensitive to the situation at hand, the death of President Edgar Lungu. They want to put the man to rest. That's when their politics shall begin. But also he mentions that the opposition political parties must support the existence of the Patriotic Front, because without the Patriotic Front, all these other small political parties, will be swallowed, in what is happening now in our political discourse. But I was amazed to read or to see what the president is doing. There's a new story that
the Republican president,
that President Hakainde Hichilema, he says that government is engaging the family of former President Edgar Lungu regarding the burial of the 6th president. Mr. Hichilema says a government team in South Africa holding discussions with the family at the moment. And he was speaking this at State House when he met the Zimbabwean second Vice President Kembo Mohadi. And one of the things that he also disclosed was that if the Zimbabwean government could come also to help, in negotiating, a better deal with the family of President Lungu. And I think this is what many Zambians, expect the president to start doing, or already if he's doing, to continue, doing. I was personally happy to see that this is what is happening in the background, because it's now been technically over 2 months that our late president died. The funeral parlor in South Africa that is keeping his remains did announce, issue a press statement that his remains might be deteriorating if there's more delays in burying him. And I think after that we did see that government did make an announcement that the only person who's allowed to speak now is the Secretary of the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa. But also there was leadership shown from the side of the party, the UPND, through the Deputy Secretary General, that to give a directive that nobody must speak, especially from the UPND, over President Edgar Lungu's death, because I think there was some form of unhealthy discussions, unhealthy talk, especially from political parties regarding the burial of the late president.
Yes, I mean, the truth is the discourse became quite disrespectful at some point, and that was something that was not worth tolerating. I think we've seen videos to that effect, and it's something that is out of our Zambian culture, and that's why that particular move was welcome, and what we've seen afterwards there. But all in all, the hope is that this will be concluded. This is what we've been talking about for the last 2 months, that this will come to a very amicable conclusion between the government and the family. We've seen the postponement of the matter in itself, even before the court in South Africa, but generally what people are hoping for is the conclusion. So if the president can make this information public, that they are still talking, which is what is expected, we just hope for the best outcome from that.
We take a break. When we're back, we get joined in by former minister responsible for agriculture, that is Greyford, Monde.
To know where we're going, we must remember where we're coming from. Boom. Never forget home.
Welcome to an electrifying new epic of agricultural shopping. Nestled in the bustling Lusaka showgrounds, the Nemchem Agri Division is more than just a store. It's the lighthouse of advancement, searching for top-notch biosecurity, cleaning, and pest control solutions. Attention! Local businesses, your quest ends here. Get ready for a thrilling journey in agricultural retail. The future begins at Nemchem Agri Division, your supermarket for superior quality. The revolution of agricultural shopping starts now. It's about empowering your business and nurturing your community. Call us today or visit our shop at the Lusaka Showgrounds.
The meaning of life is not to simply exist, but to move ahead. To rise up and achieve. To conquer. Introducing Kung Fu Energy Drink, your push for the next conquests. Kung Fu Energy Drink. Master the power.
For many, home is just a place to sleep, a rented room, a leaking roof, a borrowed space that never truly feels like theirs. Martha has always worked hard, always saved what she could. But what if her savings could do more? ZNBS is making home ownership possible. A small loan built on group savings, giving families like Martha's a chance to own something real. With the Timange housing loan, Martha's savings turn into bricks, her dream into a foundation. Join a village banking group today and let ZNBS's Timange housing loan help you own your home. Timange, your savings, your home.
As easy as 1, 2, 3, and all my clothes are squeaky clean.
Quick to remove the dirt and stains, and the fresh fragrance remains.
Never seen nothing like it, that's exactly why I like it.
So whether color white or black, it brings a new right back.
Welcome to the world of casino games on 1xBet. High stakes, even higher rewards. Are you ready to win? Casino games on 1xBet. Play big, win bigger.
Meet Lucy, a dedicated professional. Her days are filled with meetings and deadlines, but there is one thing on her mind: getting motor insurance for her brand new car.
But I need to get my insurance done though.
As Lucy begins her car journey, excitement fills the air. But she knows there is something crucial missing: safety and protection. The fear of being pulled over by traffic police looms over Lucy. She dreads the complicated and time-consuming process of getting insurance. Will she find a solution? Enters MGen on my WhatsApp. Just a chat away, this service transforms the way you buy motor insurance. It's not just efficient, it's also extremely convenient. With MGen on my WhatsApp, Lucy can now focus on what truly matters: her journey, her ambition. Insurance simplified. Text HI to MGen on my WhatsApp to easily buy, renew, or validate your insurance. When it's worth it, it's worth talking about.
Today,
start big
with Victory
Cornflakes.
Victory Cornflakes.
The end of your journey will be big. Stay on your feet, chase to achieve. Give it your all and just believe that it's gonna be big when you start with Victory Cornflakes. Start with big today. Victory Cornflakes. Remember to always keep it, do it in whatever you do. Do it, keep it in whatever you do.
Today, the best maize grain Zambia has to offer are perfectly toasted into golden flakes that pack a big crunch. Today, start big with Big Tree Cornflakes.
Well, thanks so much for staying with us. Now, recently, government did approve the export of 500 metric tons of maize grain or its equivalent in Millimute to neighboring countries in the region. This follows the 2024-2025 farming season, during which Zambia recorded a maize production of 3.7 million metric tons, in addition to a carry-over stock of over 385,000 metric tons from the previous season. Altogether, the country had a total of 4.4 million metric tons of maize grain for the 2025-2026, surpassing the national annual requirement of 3.5 million metric tons of maize. Different stakeholders have criticized this decision by government to export the surplus. But is this decision the right decision, or perhaps it was a rushed decision? Greyford Monde is former Member of Parliament and as well as Minister responsible for Agriculture. He joins us on tonight's edition of Diamond Live to speak on this topic. Mr. Monde, good evening. Thank you so much for making time to be a part of the show tonight.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening to all the listeners and the duo here. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, you two could be a part of the conversation by calling us on the number that is reflecting on your screen. Alternatively, you can use our social media platform, that's at Diamond TV Online, to drop your comments in the comment section. I'm happy that this is your debut interview, former minister, Mr. Greyford Monde on Diamond TV, and thank you so much again for accepting to come and be a part of the program tonight. I'd like to pick your thoughts as we start on this decision that government has made to export the surplus maize that we have as a country for this season.
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that, in fact, I was hoping that we're going to do crisscrossing in terms of our topics of discussions today. This particular one is really something that I enjoy because all my time at government, I was a minister in charge of agriculture Before that, I was deputy minister, and then the ministry was expanded by, being split into two, and I was in charge of fisheries and livestock, which is actually an agricultural sector. And I remember when I got the appointment, the first time when I was being appointed as deputy minister by late President Michael Sata, one of the reasons he advanced was that I was well fitted to be deputy minister in that ministry, even if I was not an agricultural expert by training. I'm an economist, but then he felt that it was all right for me to be in agriculture because Itezi, where I was member of parliament, is both crop and livestock, including fish. So the three sectors of agriculture were really something that I would have learned from my childhood, growing up in the village out there. And there are many things that I can tell you even today that agriculture itself, practicing, those that are in agriculture who have learned pretty much from the experiences of agriculture. The old methods, the new methods, what worked last year, what worked this year, the experiences of when there's a drought and so on. So we picked up these lessons coming from being a child. So when we talk about this particular topic, it gets me really very sad to see that the first time you make a mistake, it should be deemed that was a mistake. But the second time when you repeat it, then there could be an intention or it's deliberate, really. When government, this current government, won the elections in 2021, we saw them excited, running around exporting all the maize that was in reserve, strategically in reserve, for purposes of the unforeseen circumstances. You saw how that they depleted the storage that was created for the past, before 2021, 2019 stock 20. In fact, I'll tell you, there was stock for 2018, 2019, 2020, then 2021 stock, because that was after September, pretty much around 2 months from this time in 2021. Government was excited and they went out to sell all the reserve that was in storage. I want to tell you that even what they sold was not still very enough. To be food secure as a country, you must be able to count a few years, not months. On average, this country, both livestock, human consumption, we go beyond 100,000 metric tons of maize. So if you're going to do simple arithmetic, that wishful number that they're saying that this year there will be 3.7. In fact, they say there's 3.7 million metric tons of maize. It's still a wish. You know that FRA depots are still open and they're still selling, they're still buying. Some farmers are holding back. So we don't really know. And that was actually a statistic. That's a pre-statistic to check whether or not this is the stock that we are going to eventually harvest. We are not even very sure where we are today, whether 3.7 million is going to be realized from the harvest of a 2024-2025 season. So to rush and begin to think that you can want to immediately offload, we may find ourselves in a situation where we were not too long ago. After selling all the maize, we rushed back to go and buy maize from the countries where we had sold our stock. And that in itself is not a good thing. You can clearly see that when the maize we were importing came into the country, it was bad maize. It was not grade A maize, the one that everyone in the region is desiring to buy from Zambia. Zambia is always one of the best countries where you get pure grade maize. So they bought pure grade maize, and when we were hit with hunger, we went to buy maize from them, neighboring countries, of course. What did they give us? They gave us the old stock maize, which is over 5 years in their reserve. Even in the village, the maize barns and the storage facilities will always hold up a family up to the next season. Before you see the season, you're not sure. Now, if you bring that to a country level, you discover that for a country to be secure, you can check in the world, big countries. It's not just arms. Food is part of your national security. They must be able to stock at least minimum of 5 years. And we actually saw the current government, the president before, talking about the creation of food security for over 5 years. What has changed now? So for me, it's no longer a mistake. It's actually deliberate. And you know,
listen, this is surplus maize. There's maize in reserve. The ones that are going to export is surplus maize. Government mentions that quite often.
Well, now all of us must know that the surplus is not enough. Enough surplus is supposed to take a country to at least a barest minimum of 3 years.
How long can 3.4 million take us? How long can, let's start from 3.5, because we are 4 million, we're exporting 500 metric tons. How long can 3.5 million metric tons take us?
So you divide that number. When you divide that number, you're going to realize that that takes us about maybe 12 months. At most 18 months, you've run out of stock. And remember also for a country like Zambia, all the years I was at Minister of Agriculture, we would have about 3.3, 3.5, 3.6 million metric tons of maize. And yet, you would still see that by the time you're going into the following year, you're already running around 300, 400 in excess of stock. At 1 million metric tons, already you have pressure, because we all know that even our storage facilities are not enough in this country. So what should happen right now is that this government should have been actually trying to expand. You know, having no enough reserve in stock is one of the many factors that is actually escalating the prices of mealie meal. And it creates desperation in the market. Now you begin to moderate who is supposed to buy a bag of maize, who is supposed to do what. So there are many factors to consider. So your brewers are brewing using that same maize, your chicken, your fish, and the end of the day, you'll be talking of over 120, maybe to 150,000 metric tons in a month. So if we just at 1,200 metric tons or in a month, multiplied by 12 takes you to 2.4 million metric tons.
At the time you're Minister of Agriculture, the PF government never used to export maize.
So the only times that PF government would be able to export maize would be when there is no more storage. So I'll give you a practical example. In 2021, when UPND came into power, they found stock for 2018, 2019, 2020 and 2021. So what PF would have done is that they will sell stock for 2017 to create room for new stock. So the following year in 2022, they will sell stock for 2018. Because obviously in terms of the quality of the maize then begins to deteriorate. So that's always been the process. So you don't immediately empty your storage because you have last year's maize, which was not even enough anyway. Because remember that we were importing maize last season.
Just also on the issue of the exportation, because what we're getting now is that it's the over 500,000 metric tons of maize grain or its equivalent in mealie meal. When the Minister of Information and Media, the Chief Government Spokesperson, was making this announcement, because this was a cabinet resolution he was announcing, he also took time to mention some of the benefits of it. Of course, there is, because that's agricultural trade, and obviously there's revenue that gets to be generated. But further, he spoke towards empowering local economies. For example, transporters getting to benefit, because the advocacy is that local transporters should be using the process in transporting these the mealie meal or the maize. But also even imploring farmers to also expand, so at least there's higher demand as well. So they looked at all these factors as they were coming up with this particular resolution. How much of that outweighs the concerns that you have?
Priority for any government is to feed its people. Any other sector that you talk about around the agricultural sector is, number one, you need to feed your people. If the country is hungry, you are not creating a future for the country. So again, if you look at even the announcements, they're actually talking literally of maize to be exported. And yet, if we had a better situation, we should have been at a point where we should be talking of processed products from the maize itself. And under this, there are so many products that can come out of the maize. You can actually do feed for livestock and export it. You can do your cornflakes. You can do mealie meal itself, so that you can create jobs for the local. These ones, their interest, and even before, would have been to export raw material outside this country, so that the other countries will be the ones who are going to mill, they're the ones who are going to employ, they're the ones who are going to process, they're the ones who are going to extract maize bran for their livestock, and so on and so forth. So literally I can tell you that, and this is very worrisome now for a country, and Zambians must now get to begin to compare which government. You know, this current government went in with a view of telling the people that they were the best farmers, that they knew farming and that the PF didn't know how to farm. Today where we are now, you can even see how prices of agriculture implements and all of these things, they are all skyrocketing. It is very simple. It's because they don't understand the mechanism. And some of these things really, you don't even need to be a rocket scientist to know that. You are from importing maize just last season. What we should be worried about now is that if we don't export, then there's no enough storage. But now we know very well that by the time we were living as government, ourselves, 5 years ago, there was dotted enough storage that was created, renovations of silos and so on. Private silos, private storages have always been a factor in this process, so that everyone in the value chain must be able to benefit. Our warehouses are empty, and you want to pick your grain straight from the field and you take it out of the country. That's grade A maize we're talking about.
To take your thoughts on what Andrew Chintala, the Millers Association of Zambia president, said. He said this move will help reduce post-harvest losses and cut storage costs. Do you agree with his position?
Well, you know, like I keep saying, and let me say that the problem now we are faced is when you get people who are one-sided interests. So if you talk to a trader who wants to export, obviously their reasoning will be based on the business side and profit making. Truthfully speaking, and I can assure you that it will not take long. We warn this government that this maize you are exporting, it will not take long. You are going to be importing maize again from outside this country, and the cost will be very expensive. This is exactly what's happening. I can assure you that there is no gain we are going to get by exporting 500,000 metric tons of maize out of this country for anything like saving money on storage. We already have these storage facilities that have been built in this country. So you want to store your maize outside the country so that when you run short of your maize, then you go and buy it back into the country. Because that's what is going to happen. Right now, government has no control whatsoever on who is holding maize where. And at that point, it becomes my maize. But the intention of government in the past, the creation of the Food Reserve Agency, was to ensure that as a country, we must have enough storage for ourselves. When you have done that, then you have a control on the staple food, the main food stay for our people. This country is not thinking that line. If they want to liberalize the agricultural sector, let them open the borders. If they really want to say that they're trying to support the farmers, let them open the borders. So that when I grow my maize, they must. Why must government be the one to buy and sell maize outside the country? Is government in a business?
Hasn't it been the case that it is government that exports maize?
No. The reason why governments will export maize is to moderate the stock of maize in the country. That's the reason.
So it's not a good reason enough?
No, it's not a good reason enough, especially when your warehouses are empty and you only have fresh maize, current maize, grade A maize, less than just months old of your grain. You want to sell it. When you want to go and buy back that maize, you will not even find it in the market. Everyone is looking out for the good non-GMO maize that is planted in Zambia.
Do you believe that releasing the surplus maize onto the market would reduce the price of milling meal?
It wouldn't. How will it reduce the price? How will it reduce the price when you export maize?
When you don't export, but you put it into the Zambian market, the surplus maize, do you think it will reduce the price at which people are buying, milling meal at?
When you have excess maize in a country, it means that the same principle of when the market is flooded, then you're going to get your prices to reduce. This is an equation that must be worked out in such a manner that all the parties must be able to benefit. But for government to be the ones doing this is a wrong way of doing things. By now, we should be talking of maybe above 5 million metric tons. In fact, by now, the government should be talking of putting at least a minimum of 100,000 metric tons of storage facility in each province. That way, you're going to be food secure. That way, you're going to have enough. Do you know that even the cost of fish production now is high? Many fish farmers have actually backed out because of the same way in which government has not been concerned regards its own people. So when you export, you're actually taking your maize outside to a farmer in Zimbabwe, to a farmer in Botswana, to a farmer in Namibia, to a farmer in Tanzania, to benefit from the maize that we have planted. And this leaves your people to struggle. And the main fish farmers were backing out farming fish, because they were left with only giving their fish with vegetables and so on and so forth.
Making this a bit broader, because I know we've narrowed it down to the exportation of the surplus of the maize grain there, but looking at it from a broader perspective, the agricultural sector, what would your general evaluation be? I know you touched on it briefly. You said that I think they gave people a lot of expectations of how they'll be able to reform the agricultural sector, looking at, for example, President Hichilema's agricultural background. But what would your general evaluation be in the last 4 years? Because yesterday marked 4 years since President Hichilema came into office.
Well, for me, if I were to evaluate, and I know that Zambians out there have actually even themselves made this evaluation. Clearly, from 2021 to where we are today, this government has completely deviated from the promises that they gave the Zambian people. If you look at the agricultural sector today, save for the foundation that was already left by PF, there is nothing new that they've done in the sector. What have they done? They promised the people that they were going to give a number of bags to the farmers. Zambians out there are aware. That has never happened. In 2022, in fact, 2021, 2022, they found excess stock in terms of the fertilizer and the seed, especially the fertilizer that remained from what PF was able to provide to the people. 2022 season was their fresh season. What did we see? They introduced Mameda, giving out to the farmers and sharing little seed out there and so on. When you skip the crop section, the crop side, nothing new. They should have by now been saying, we have enough stock on the sorghums, on the millets, on the cassava, on nothing. When you come to the fish sector, it was only during the time of PF when you saw the whole country talking about fish farming. The prices of fish, then in terms of the numbers, the production has gone very low. You come to the livestock section, livestock, same story. You have seen how that just to vaccinate animals in areas where there is the CBPP in Western Province and so on, they have failed to do annual vaccinations. A farmer there is the one who's suffering all the time. And because of this and much more, you see farmers become desperate. You saw how they slaughtered 70 animals there. It's not a good thing. They condemned many PF policies on agriculture, and they said they were going to do the best in the sector. As I'm talking to you right now, very unprecedented levels of how the agricultural sector has been transformed by this government in a very negative way. In a very, very negative way. And all of these things are accumulation of decisions and policies that are being made at cabinet level. To talk about excess, they're talking of excess of what? So if you have 3.7 million metric tons projected stock you're going to buy, your warehouses are still empty. What surplus is that? So let them keep that stock. Like the way we won them in 2021, let them keep that stock. You sell stock when you have your warehouses are full and you have ensured that there's food security in the country.
Now, I mean, that's from the agricultural sector. But if we look at it from an even broader perspective, 4 years of the UPND, what is your evaluation?
In fact, for them, they say that they've achieved over 90% of their campaign promises, and that they're on course, with their campaign promises. Do you agree with this position from government?
It's very laughable. And every time I saw anywhere where they said that they've achieved 90% of their promises, I actually laugh, and I can't believe that. And even when you see their posts, anyone posting about this or people talking about it, they actually ask themselves, are these people living with us? 90% of their campaign promises, what did they promise?
Free education.
Okay.
Debt restructuring.
Yes. And where are we now? Where has debt been restructured? Are they not still borrowing? They talked about infrastructure development. I heard the other time Honorable Milupi saying that the UPND has built more roads than any government ever since. Is that true? This is a government that when they sit on their own in cabinet, when they sit on their own in their circles and they begin to lie to themselves that they are going to continue with government, and then they come and announce that they create the lie and they announce the lie. And they want everyone to believe that lie. Let them believe anything that they want. This is a government. Today I was listening to a press conference by my MP in Itestezi, and I was there listening. Same type of talk like his president. Same. Where you'll be telling the people, for the first time, this is what we have done. As if they're the first government to have ever lived in Zambia. I will give you some examples, and I was listening to some news as I was coming here, how that those lies have been read and repeated on radio. The man begins by saying, there has never been water in Itestezi. This is the first time that our people are drinking clean water. Lie. In 2012, Ministry of Local Government pumped in 2 million kwacha in Itestezi to do a new water reticulation system. And that project was combined together with the new hydropower station that was again built by the PF. Together we opened, and I was member of parliament, fortunately. We opened up, we did the most expensive water reticulation system, and we even brought a water a company to come and operate that system. Lukanga Water and Sewerage. Now I'm told it's under Southern Water, Swasco. That was built in our time. But when you hear them and listen to them, they'll tell you, we are the first one to ever bring clean water. There was never a grader in Itestezi that ever moved in Itestezi. Today I was listening, the angels of UPND. Never a grader.
So it's not true that Zambia is back in the Champions League?
No, which Champions League? I'm still explaining to you which Champions League. And I'm giving you a case study, and now I want anyone who is in that press conference to go on the ground and ask, before PF came into power, before I was a member of parliament in Itestezi, for example, there is a road called Itestezi-Namwala Road. It was built by MMD. There were graders on the road. The proper road, to date that road, we never touched it. We only do little renovations, rehabilitations on the road. It's standing there. It was done by MMD. In my time, as member of parliament, we began a program and we put up a road from Itestezi to Dundumwezi to Kalomo. That road was done not by this government. It was done by the PF. Today they will tell you no grade has ever been on any road. The road, major road connecting Itestezi to the Lusaka-Mongu road, the D769, that road was yawning for years. No one touched that road. Under the PF, it was actually at a certain time degraded to a gravel. Under PF, we came to put bituminous on the road and made it a tar. Out of the 100 kilometers, I was on about 30 kilometers left. By the time I was leaving, 30 kilometers left. To date, this MP, 4 years, has failed to deal on that road. The previous MP, 5 years, another UPND MP, has failed to deal with that road. But the road was tarred. We've done so much. But you still hear them, you see them, begin to tell you as if you were not there. And they lie in the night, they lie in the morning, they lie in the day, while everyone is watching. They will lie.
You start picking cause. You want to start picking cause, but we've got several messages, on social media as well that are sending messages. But Chimweka, you can ask before I can get to the messages.
So you talk of them lying, according to you, and when we look at what they have been mentioning, just a few days ago, was it the other week, we were hosting the deputy spokesperson for the party, Mr. Elvis Nkandu, and one of the things that they admit to that needs work right now from their administration is issues of load shedding, which they have admitted is a thorny issue of even the cost of living, which they have also admitted needs to be worked on. But they say they've done exceptionally well in all these other areas. The mining sector, for example, the employment that they've been able to give to the Zambian people, a number of youths and other citizens being able to have an income which they previously didn't have, and so on. And they look at this as cause for them, but these two thorny issues being the ones that need to be addressed, maybe accounting for the 10 or 20% left for their 100% mark. When you look at that particular overview that they make, do you disagree with that?
Completely. And on this particular matter, even when they say that, they themselves know the truth. That in fact, all that they say is keeping face. I'm very sure that they're even themselves disappointed that the outcome, after having promised heaven on earth, is what it is now. They thought it was easy said, but now they know it's very difficult. You can't get it easy. Look, talk about the mining sector that they're boasting about right now. They promised the young people, the youths, when we form government, you have a part in the sector. What do we see today? You've seen how our people are being killed on these mines. And I can assure you that if government created an environment that is conducive for its youths, which one will you easily do? Follow a procedure which is simple, or go and do the hard thing that is going to cost you a life? Zambian youths are very intelligent out there. They think and they know. If truly this government allowed the young people of this country, the youths of this country, to participate in the mining sector, they would have created for them through their cooperatives or through groups and get them to own some of these mines. If that was created for them, they would not want to do. Who would want to smuggle if the process is easy? Who would want to steal if there's availability on the table?
But just recently we saw the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development. Just last week we heard President Hakainde Hichilema making a directive for the artisanal licenses to be issued. He made the directive to the minister, and before that we saw about 90 or so cooperatives from Mufumbwe were given offer letters with the end of it all, them having these licenses, and this is being supervised by ZCCMIH. So when you talk about these cooperatives as well being involved,
so now this is when they're talking about.
Isn't that progress?
No, there's no progress.
So you don't consider that?
No, it can't be. You know that the way the UPND started off, they started at a point where first of all, before they even got into power, they are very good at making promises and giving numbers. By now, UPND should not have been giving promises, because 4 years deep in leadership, in fact, now we are remaining with just days. And then you still want to start giving people promises, create cooperatives, do this and so. It's not going to work. So the sector itself is completely in disarray. The young people have not benefited. The Zambians have not benefited.
Let's pick our first caller, Lillian Mumba from within Osaka. Thank you so much, Lillian, for Mundia. Lillian Mundia from within Osaka. Thank you so much for calling us on the show. Go ahead with your contribution. Hello? Lillian Mundia?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. You can proceed with your contribution.
Yes, please. Good morning, Mr. Monde, Honorable Monde.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Lillian Shangwe Mundia.
Ensha, Monde, when you were Minister of Agriculture, you were saying that when you were Minister of Agriculture, and the previous government have not expanded the storage of maize. But you were Minister of Agriculture. Why didn't you build the storage to be many?
Thank you.
And when you were Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Monde, I remember one time we were exporting maize to Congo and Tanzania. So why are you blaming the government for exporting maize when yourself you had been doing it before? And we were saying that there is a road between Itejiteja and Dudumwezi, which were done by PF. Mr. Monde, that is not true. There is no tarmac between Itejiteja and Dudumwezi. That is just a gravel. You are supposed to say we created a gravel from Itejiteja to Dudumwezi up to Kalomo. There is no tarmac, it's just gravel. So learn to say the truth. If your friends are working, tell them that, okay, on this one, you have worked. When you have not done anything, blame them.
All right, thank you so much.
In your time.
Thank you so much, Lillian. We need to give others an opportunity. Thank you so much. You two could be a part of the program by calling us. We'll pick 3 calls so that you could collectively respond to them. But on Facebook, Abraham Rooney Kapia says UPN is a problem itself. They love selling off everything they see or come across. Felix Manjmela says the government should not export maize, not after what we experienced. They should expand the storage system instead. Dean Masule says, you're speaking well, Honorable. Linio Kinsulu says, too much amasampo would take over UPND. Robert says, well articulated. Black White Television, this youthful presidential aspirant is speaking sense. Let's give him a chance. Bright Angel says, PF was the best. As for me, you don't know what you're talking about, sir. Robert Chola says, stock feed is very expensive. The bumper harvest could have been used to control the price, hence reducing the cost of farm produce. Malumba Justin, for sure we sowed maize. Now it's 1 month, some weeks we need our money. So we're going to pick 2 more calls, Honorable, and then thereafter you could respond. But as we pick the other call, what's your response to what Lillian Mundia had to say?
Well, what Lillian is saying, actually, I'm very grateful that she came through to express her views. But I want to say clearly here that from the start I mentioned that as PF would export maize. And at any given time that we're exporting maize, it was when we were very sure that we have enough stock in reserve. And we would not sell fresh maize. What we would sell is maize of the 4th year in the past. So I gave a sequence. In 2021, UPND came into power. And what did they do the first thing, like the way Kapia is saying, and Masule, and all of these other people, that Nivakaponya, Vaite Mwama Sample. 2021, you find enough storage, you sell 2018 stock. Why? Because UPF was very systematic. We knew that you cannot sell fresh maize, grade A maize, which is so high in nutrients, well reserved. You can't. So we never sold maize when there was still enough storage. In terms of what PF did during the time...
Just hold your thought there. Let's pick Webi Mwansa. You respond to them collectively. Webi Mwansa from the Copperbelt in Ketu. From Ketu. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Wa Mwansa. Mwansaku.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Please proceed with your contribution or question.
Yeah, my contribution is as follows.
Mr. Greyford,
yes.
Monde.
Mr. Monde is not being honest with his analysis of the roads in Itestezi. Yes. Because the time when Mr. Monde was the MP there, Itestezi is connected by Namwala, Itestezi, and Mumbwa. The roads that goes to the villages from Mumbwa to connect to Namwala as you pass through Itestezi, or as you pass through Itestezi going to villages like Munga, Makunku, Lubanda, all those villages that he's talked about. Itestezi is a rural area. They are not done. The roads, he left them in a very bad state. Number 2, I want to talk about the mines. During the reign of the PF, me among the copper belt, thousands of jobs were lost in the mines. when your friends are doing the right things, trying to revoke the mines that were destroyed through being liquidated by you, the PF, then today you want to come there and start saying, no, the people on the copper belt, there are no jobs. What the mines are being revamped here. Us, we stay on the copper belt. Go to Sakile there. Mopani is still employing people now. Jobs are being advertised. Look at what your friends are doing in Chidilabombo. Look at what your friends are doing with the Rwanda, the Shaft 28. Let's see, try to be as honest as possible when your friends are trying to do damage control that you people destroyed.
All right, thank you so much, Wawebi.
Thank you.
Your reaction to
Well, so let me quickly talk about the roads that are being perpetrated and being talked about now. In Itestezi, and like I've mentioned, the road Wawebi is talking about, the one Itestezi going into Namwala, going into Makunku and in those rural areas. By the time UPND was coming in power, there were two contractors. One that was doing the extension from Namwala, going into Makunku, Nyambo, that direction. They terminated the contract. The other road that was going into Chief Musungwa, going down that road, there was another contractor, they terminated the contract. The road that Dundumwezi road that Womundia is talked about, that road, it was grade A gravel road done during our time. To date in it, there's no one single road that the UPND have done. And yet they will go out boasting and talk about that they've done a lot of development and that like the first ones, there was never a grader in it. Mark the word, they keep using this word, that there is no grader ever that has ever stepped on a foot in it. And I've given an example of what MMD did before PF and what PF did after MMD. But for them, all of the works of past governments, it is nothing for them. So you can actually see that they create the lie, they want to believe the lie, and they want to live the lie, and they can lie in the afternoon, they lie in the night. Anytime they want to lie, they will lie. So the roads were done. The tarmac we're talking about is a D769, the major road connecting Itestezi. From the early 80s, that road has never been worked on. It was a tarmac, it was downgraded. By the time I was leaving, we had put a tarmac. Out of the 100 kilometers, 70 kilometers was done by the PF. And we left 30 kilometers for them to finish. They've changed it to MPs. Even this current one, because the other MP was saying, no, I'm not in government. This one is in government. He asked a question in Parliament, our current member of Parliament. What will happen to our road? The answer was simple. It shall be built when funds are available. And that's how the question ended. Today, people are suffering in Itestezi. And yet, when you are listening to them, they will tell you as if you are not living in Zambia. This is how they keep lying, excuse me. This is how this government keeps lying to the people. They will tell you anything they want to say, as though you are not the ones who are there. To say that there was before that, because I think I've exhausted the questions here that they've talked about.
We want to conclude the program. The country goes to the elections next year on the 13th of August. The Zambian people will be voting. What's your projection? From the Patriotic Front, you claim as a Patriotic Front that you're going to bounce back into office. But the UPND are asking with which numbers?
So the UPND have forgotten one thing, that their competition right now is not really a political party. It is the Zambian people that have not received their promises. And for anyone to come and say that we've scored 90%, and yet the cost of living is at its worst ever since Zambia was. That alone amounts for over 80%. Cost of living itself amounts for over 8%. So if you failed cost of living, you have failed it all. What else are you going to talk about? So because they are scared, so scared about the PF, I want to dare them that if really they think that the PF is nothing, why are they holding the party in court? Why are they trying to steal the PF from ourselves? It's because they know. I want to assure them that in the next very few days to go, UPND is going to be history. Because the Zambian people on 13th of August, Thursday, 2026, will turn out to kick out this government because they feel the pressure, not the aircon that they are enjoying. So we have all the confidence because people are going to compare who has built Zambia and who has not. In Lusaka here, show me one road that they can boast of that they have done. Here in Lusaka, None. In the Copper Belt, none. The dual carriage road, all of us know what is happening there. They've literally gifted a company to enjoy our sweat using toll gates and so on. So where are they going to get the vote? The employment that they're talking about.
They've been winning by-elections consistently and you've been losing.
No, you know, by-elections where you are competing on yourself and there's no competitor, literally, you know that the major opposition political party in this country is a PF. It's a party that has membership in parliament. Then you take away the PF, you even stop the PF from putting on Ligaria, only Ligaria in an election. Then you think, in the general election, they are going to be shocked what is going to happen. So,
by the way, the issue of the regalia, that's something that was addressed by the Vice President, a law that was actually enacted while the Patriotic Front was in government.
So the PF exists. So a political party that is in a country, you have no ways to. If the PF did that, why did we allow all political parties to participate in these by-elections? Why is it now that it is a concern for them to say you cannot allow the PF to wear their Ligaria?
But if the law wasn't used then, you can't blame the UPND for enforcing the law.
No. What is happening right now is that there's been a lot of picking. You know how they're interpreting these laws? Go to the judiciary, the same way. Clear things, they'll tell you this is now what it is. They are twisting the law. I can assure you. And that particular matter, we are going to challenge it. We're going to challenge it.
As we're concluding, and under the current state of the Patriotic Front, as you have rightly said, the matters before court, and obviously it's made it difficult for yourselves to even be able to field candidates under the Patriotic Front name in these by-elections. If things go as they are into 2026, what are the chances of the Patriotic Front being re-elected?
Well, so we are going to fight, but you also know that we've created an alliance. We are all doing this because it's very strange, the type of democracy and the governance system that is being given to the Zambian people now. It gets everyone to wonder. So we have an alliance, and through an alliance, you know that we've been participating in 2 elections. So it doesn't really matter which political party is going to participate in next year's election. What the UPND must worry about now is that what the people will vote for. And you know that in this country, we've got a record of where Zambians will just want to kick you out. And if they kicked out PF with all the developmental projects that you saw in this country, which is the reason why they boast of having employed people, if there were no schools built by PF, they were not going to employ anyone. If there were no hospitals, they were not going to employ anyone. With all of that, they still kicked out PF. What about the UPND?
Former Minister in charge of Agriculture, Honorable Greyford Monde, it's been a pleasure having you on our program tonight.
Thank you very much.
We've been looking at the decision by government to export over 500 metric tons of maize, but also issues happening in the Patriotic Front and the possibility of the PF winning the elections next year. Our guest has been former Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Greyford Monde. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Andrew Mwansa.
My name is Chimweka, Chileshe. Enjoy the rest of your night. Up next is the Stephen Piri Show.
Chop some onions. I'll beat it. Into the pot. Delicious. Sprinkle some spring onion.
Have you heard about the lady who knows how to cook? She makes the best noodles with the special look. She asks